Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Aegis, Board Chair for the Children's Center of Wayne County. I'm your MC for today, and I'm proud to welcome you to the 18th Annual Power of Possibilities Breakfast. The theme this year is Imagine with Me. This is the third year we're convened virtually. I long for meeting and greeting in person again, and I'm hopeful that day will come very soon. However, joining us through the power of the internet is still a gift to us all, to log on with an open mind and heart to learn about the wonderful work the folks here at the Children's Center do so well. Thank you. On behalf of myself and the full board of directors, I would like to extend a deep, heartfelt thank you to Bill and Lisa Ford and the Ford Motor Company, our presenting sponsor, for help making it possible for us to share here today with everyone. The Ford family has been with us since the very beginning. That kind of steadfast support is absolutely humbling to me. This organization shares the rich history of Detroit. You know the story. In 1929, toward the end of the Roaring '20s, the impact of the Wall Street crash caused the Great Depression. To say those were dark times is an understatement. But there was a little light that shone in the darkness. It was during that very year that the Children's Center was founded. Then U.S. Senator James Couzens established the Children's Fund, which soon became the Children's Center of Wayne County, one of the first child guidance centers in the county. The Children's Center has a storied past that it can be proud of. Not many agencies last 93 years, but if you watch the staff, led by President and CEO Deborah Matthews, you will see passion for our children, hard work, and humility. I know a little about hard work and humility. As a first-generation American, the daughter of two incredible individuals who immigrated from Malta in 1954, I watched them roll up their sleeves and work hard to give us opportunities. They lived in Corktown, in the shadow of Tiger Stadium. The city was filled with the energy of music, arts, and education. My heart was also captured by the energy of the city as a teen in Southwest Detroit at Holy Redeemer High School. After college, I got a job at Wayne State University, and I'm still there. I've never left. I love what I do. I love the city and its people. In my role as a mental health researcher, I combine data and stories about what's happening in the city and use that as a tool to solve problems and strengthen communities. One of my favorite stories is about the city and how it's filled with the evidence of humility and hard work and a portrait of positive energy. A very similar energy is here now with you, our esteemed guests. We hope you will see the same humble, hardworking spirit and energy of Detroit in the folks here at the Children's Center, and more importantly, in the impact their efforts have on our children who are living through a stressful time. Before we begin with the rest of this morning's program, I want to take time to recognize our sponsors for this year's Power of Possibilities Breakfast. The support these organizations have provided is so critical to the Children's Center. We're incredibly grateful. Because of you, young people have access to programs and services we believe like no other agency in the city. First, our Imagine level sponsors we'd like to recognize Ford Motor Company, of course, and the Vinnie Johnson Foundation. We appreciate you. Our Dream level sponsor is Barton Mallow, such a great partner in providing not only financial support for this event, but in-kind efforts for other projects here at the center. Next, we'd like to recognize our Wonder level sponsors, Bodman PLC, RSM Interiors, SCHECHTER Benefits, and Walgreens. Our Envision level sponsor is EW Grobel. Thank you for your generous support. Then there are the Spark level sponsors, Henry Ford Health System, Hollingsworth Logistics Group, LLC, PNC Bank, and RDMA. Finally, we definitely need to acknowledge the talented Cutter Studio team for the in-kind sponsorship, video production, studio time, AV support, and so much more. We thank each of you for all you've done to help this agency do what it does for the children and youth in Wayne County. Now, what would this breakfast be without your table captions? You all know them and you love them, I hope. They're a big reason you're here. We thank you for helping fill our Hollywood squares with the smiles of your colleagues, family, and friends. To my fellow members on the Children's Center Board of Directors and all who serve on our many committees, your service is essential to our work, and I'm proud to serve alongside you. Thank you for your dedication. Now, let's move along with the program. First, to kick off our time together, we'll enjoy a wonderful video featuring a collaboration from the jazz ensemble from the Detroit School of the Arts and David Byrne, singing his song, Everybody's Coming to Our House. You'll love this rendition. The spirit and voices of these young people truly capture the energy of our city and this agency. After the video, I'd like you to welcome a woman who's the driving force behind our success, Children's Center President and CEO, Deborah Matthews. She'll share the impressive outcomes of the organization and share progress on current initiatives that will make a difference in the lives of young people. After her report, I'll be back with you to share a few stories from our families and children. These videos will capture the profound impact that programs and services from the Children's Center provides. These personal accounts are remarkable testaments of hope and resilience of the families and the incredible commitment of the Children's Center staff.
I wish I was a camera. I wish I was a postcard.
I welcome you to my house.
You didn't have to go far.
A house in a garden. There's plants and trees.
Make a closer inspection. If you get down to your knees. Everybody's coming to my house, and we're never gonna be alone. Everybody's coming to my house, and we're never gonna go back home.
I'm pointing and describing, and I can be your guide.
This skin is just a road map. The view is very nice.
Imagine looking at a picture. Imagine driving in a car.
Imagine rolling down the window. Imagine opening the door. Everybody's coming to my house. Everybody's coming to my house. I'm never gonna be alone, and we're never gonna go back home. We're only tourists in this life, only tourists, but the view is nice. And we're never gonna be alone, and we're never gonna go back home. We're only tourists in this life, only tourists, but the view is nice. And we're never gonna be alone, and we're never gonna go back home. Everybody's coming to my house. Everybody's coming to my house. I'm never gonna be alone, and we're never gonna go back home. Everybody's coming to my house. Everybody's coming to my house. I'm never gonna be alone, and we're never gonna go back home.
Everybody coming to my house.
Everybody, never gonna be alone, and we're never gonna go.
Good morning. I'm Deborah Matthews, President and CEO of the Children's Center, TCC for short. As I'm sure some of you can notice, my voice is a little off this morning, but that's okay. The show goes on. I am tremendously grateful that all of you have taken the time out of your busy schedules and are spending your morning to learn more about us. Welcome to the 18th annual Power of Possibilities Breakfast, Imagine with Me. We hope that this virtual experience leaves you with a better understanding of our work and how we all can play a part in ensuring children and families in our community are able to have what they need to live their best lives. I have been at the helm of this wonderful place for 17 of TCC's 93 years. Before I continue, I'd like to take a moment to honor Ted Lewis, who served as TCC's CEO from 1974 to 2005, 31 long years. Ted passed away recently, but his wife Judy and members of the Lewis family have joined us today. We so appreciate Ted for his years of service. He gave us a strong foundation on which to build. Thank you, Judy and the Lewis family, for your commitment to TCC. You will always be a part of our family and community. My days as CEO have been well spent. I've had the pleasure of leading an incredibly committed and talented group of professionals who truly care about our children and families. I can confidently say that for us, this is not a job, it is a calling. Personally, caring for our youth is my life's work. I can see myself in so many of the young people we serve, as my own childhood was filled with the dreadful reality of trauma and abuse. Although I didn't have access to the same care TCC provides today, I persevered with the support of a caring few and an unspeakable grace that can only be from a higher power. Each of us at TCC have our own personal connection to this work. We are excited to share our successes, but also our challenges. Everyone from the board of directors and executive and leadership teams to our clinical staff and volunteers, we are all committed to our children and families. The programs and services we provide are critical to the future of Wayne County's communities because they're centered around our children. Helping children dream again is no easy task. We care for the whole child. This requires us to dig deep into their world, to understand them and what they're up against, their family, friends, environment, schools, you name it. And that takes time and resources, the kind that you have helped provide and we hope will continue to provide. First, allow me to share the positive impact our TCC teams have made. We adapted our services to safeguard our staff and clients during the pandemic. And although our in-person services were limited, our telehealth efforts have been effective and carried us through this difficult period. Although we faced challenges, we enjoyed some very encouraging victories. We helped 319 families achieve goals they set for themselves. We diverted 75% of children presenting in our crisis center from possible hospitalization back to their own homes and outpatient care. Of the children that completed treatment through TCC, 95% reported success with no major impairments. We provided 3,093 individual children and youth with behavioral health services, as well as serving another 351 children and youth in child welfare. And 94% of young people in our young adult self-sufficiency program graduated from high school. And that's an almost 10% increase from the previous year during the pandemic. These numbers clearly show that we're consistently making a difference, even during times of uncertainty. Despite budget and staffing challenges, we continue our work. This is because of your support. You helped us fill in the gaps. In addition to our clinical care, TCC continues to find ways to break barriers for our kids. Through our community partnerships, we build strategic alliances that open doors for young people who are often locked out. Through strategic efforts, TCC is leading the charge to change outcomes for Black boys in Detroit and Wayne County. The charge is a 10-year commitment to bring these youth from crisis to connection. The imperative, a joint effort with the National Alliance on Mental Illness of Michigan, NAMI, engages several business leaders and community stakeholders from all the systems that touch our children: education, health, law enforcement, child welfare, and juvenile justice, among others. Together, we aim to identify and address systemic practices that limit children of color. With the work from the imperative, we will develop and implement effective trauma-informed interventions that help heal the generational wounds these children inherit. Wounds from a behavioral health perspective can be devastating to Black boys. Did you know that the likelihood of a Black boy being expelled from school is 3 times more than for other races? And there is a 5 times greater chance of a Black boy being incarcerated compared to boys of other races. These are just a few disparities that are caused by the lack of opportunity and understanding from the systems of care that are not sensitive to the insidious cycle of childhood trauma, educational disparities, institutional racism, and poverty. TCC will continue to build bridges for our young people. It's a part of who we are. It's our purpose, and we are equipped for a time such as this. If we remember back to when we were young, we had an imagination that was limitless. Nothing was impossible. We imagined ourselves having grand tea parties or fighting dragons as valiant knights. Whatever your dream was, you lived in those moments until it was bedtime. Let's do that now. Imagine with me a place where young Black boys get a solid education, find well-paying jobs, and raise their own families in safe neighborhoods. Imagine the economic surge it would have on our region and the cultural boom it would have on our society. The author, William Arthur Ward, wrote, "If you can imagine it, you can achieve it. If you dream it, you can become it." Let's imagine together, achieve together. Let's dream together and become together. Thank you for supporting our work here at TCC as we continue to help children and families shape their own futures. Come on and imagine with me.
We found out the diagnosis with our oldest child and about having autism. I've heard of the word, but I didn't know exactly what it was or whatever. So we doing Google searches, and we even asked my child's teacher. And so that's what she broke it down to us, and that's what she recommended. Hey, I know a place that can help her out, which is the Children's Center. So we didn't know anything about the Children's Center, so everything is new to us. So we gave it a shot. Had an intake back in like 2011. It was rough, but it's like we got through it as far as like being out in public, acting out and stuff like that. Now through Children's Center, working with them throughout all these years, I mean, it was just ups and downs to the point that it's a lot of therapy, it's a lot of sessions that I'm tired of this and things and stuff like that, but it helped them out. It helped them out big time. Like people we meet now that's meeting our kids, when we tell them what we went through, they don't believe us. So they were like, wait, what? Y'all went through that with all three of them? We're like, yes, we have. It definitely, they helped us out in all phases. They do more than just therapy sessions and stuff. They help anybody out. It could be from financial assistance, housing assistance, or income, and there's a lot of other stuff. They even have like events, a lot of events from like the Thanksgiving parade. We had dinner with the Detroit Lions, and that's part of it too, far as like socializing with others, being out and about in the crowd, because they're gonna eventually face that when they grow up. So it wasn't just sitting in the office for like an hour or 2, 3 times a week or whatever like that. So other stuff they helped us out with too, and other families. I'm like, on me, whatever chance I get, I do be involved here at the Children's Center. And you know, it's like getting together with other men, other fathers. We talk about what we go through and stuff. You know, my wife, she does a lot. And it's like, that's why I try to change what I do to help her out too, because I could understand from a mother's standpoint. It's rough because you deal with the kids all day, taking them to school, therapy, doctor's appointments. And us fathers, you know, we just go to work. So I want to change that. And so I even talk to other fathers, say, hey, you know, I know we are father with men, we definitely be with our kids, but it's like, well, let's just do something different. Let's be more involved. I try to instill that in my kids and stuff, let them know, hey, I gotta work, but I still, you know, gotta do something for them too, because I'm just not just an employee. I am a father. That's the main thing. I am a father, and our kids need us. But then I just imagine too, like, what if they didn't get the help from the Children's Center? What if we never heard of Children's Center? What would it be like? That's all. I always imagine that too, like, oh man, it probably would have been rough or whichever. Look, don't give up. I know it can be hard, and y'all not by yourself. It's a lot of parents out there like that. So, hey, just get all the help you can get, the resources and everything. So that's the most important thing. Our kids need us. You know, autism or not, they need us to be there. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. The tunnel may be short, it may be very long, but there is a light at the end. So just keep on pushing.
I first heard about the Children's Center, I think there was a referral from a teacher whose son has the same diagnosis as my son, ADHD. She mentioned some things to me about how she noticed, and it reminded her a lot of her son. And I told her, I said, oh my goodness, it's not in my mind. People were telling us, oh, he's young, he's a boy, don't worry about it, he's just overly active. All the other kids do the same thing, so it's okay. But you know, as a mom, you know, the Children's Center was a godsend. There were groups for the kids, like training classes to help him self-regulate. There was just activities and fun with other kids. And then in the middle of the fun, they just learned to maybe express themselves or to talk about their feelings. And then parents were pulled in one class to vent and just talk how exhausted and how, you know, some of the challenges that we faced in the school systems. And we were able to bond, we were able to share resources and all kinds of things. And it really was a relief, even if it was just for an hour and a half. Just an hour and a half, once or twice a week. That hour and a half was a lifter. I was that parent that was almost afraid to answer the phone because it was a wide range of things. He did this today, Judah did that today. I almost felt like I'm like, is my son, is he able to learn? What is happening? It was basically a failure. It was a disaster. I always call it an academic nightmare. And on top of that, there were some kids that really, you know, teased him. He read slower than the other kids. He maybe, you know, didn't catch on as fast. And so what began to happen, he and a few other kids who were, you know, kind of like him and had some of the similar diagnoses, they kind of just gelled together and they became the group of kids that were the troublemakers. So Judah is 16 now, okay? There are still some academic challenges for him, but he plays football now, plays at his high school. There are still challenges, but I do believe that there's some things that he's grown through, and it's helped him kind of find his way. I find that Judah is a little bit more equipped to self-regulate and to kind of recognize and identify some of his triggers or when he's just not doing well. And so he's a little bit more able to communicate that. I have to say overall, there's just been some major improvements for him. We're still working at it. There's some days are not good. Some semesters have not been good, but we're still working at it. But I think if it had not been for the Children's Center, if it had not been for sports, youth sports, I don't know where we'd be. I have to be honest about that. I really couldn't tell you. It's the same as almost like schools. If you approach this as if you're only enrolling a child, chances are you probably already missed the mark. You're enrolling a family because everything that's happening in that family comes with that child. It is the same thing here at the Children's Center. You cannot service children without servicing the family. It's a package deal because we all know what happens when children are kind of pushed aside, isolated, neglected, made to feel some kind of way as the bad apple, the black sheep, always the one in trouble. We've seen that play out over and over again. The 6-year-old that we don't provide support to and support that family today becomes the possible threat at 18. For us, it definitely did save his life because it helped me have motivation and inspiration to know that, first of all, that it can happen, it can be done. My son is not a throwaway. He doesn't have to be at the bottom of the barrel. There are people that will support him. There are people out here that will support his mother. There were people out here that will help his family and help us get through it. I can ask for help. I can call somebody and say, I don't have this right now. Somebody heard that and said, wait a minute, hold it. What do you need? Let's get this together. We're gonna work this out. Somebody had to do that for me. And I can do that for somebody else too. Because sometimes what happens is we suffer in silence. Nobody knows what we're going through because we don't want to tell anybody. We're embarrassed. We don't want to, bring any shame, bring all this attention onto it. Somebody's going to look at me different. But we have to be able to support the families who cannot navigate systems. This stuff is confusing. And we have to do it in love and kindness and compassion. We have to wrap our arms around these families because they're already going through enough. It is tough. Walking through the door when he was 6, I didn't know how we were going to get through this. I mean, there were moments. I distinctly remember having a moment when my son was younger and I said, I can't parent him. I said, I can't parent him because it was a different child that I was raising and I didn't know what to do. There's so much pressure to get everything right. And I didn't know how to handle it. But today, I'm glad I parented him because I can see the progress and the growth. And I can't imagine if I didn't have support, if I had given up, I can't imagine where he would be, and I see that now. And I'm glad I stepped out there.
I used to work for a facility called Icon Family Youth Services for girls, and I noticed the treatment of the girls. And when they shut it down, I say, well, I can do this. So I seen Children's Center come across the TV screen, and I called. And they stated that, well, you can come up here and you can take the classes and you can get foster girls and you can, I say, okay. So I did it and I completed the classes in 2006. But over the years, I had consisted of over 100 girls over the years of fostering and independent living girls. They come in, like you say, with trauma. They sad because they're separated from their loved ones, their mother, their father, and their siblings. You know, they sad, they get depressed, they go through a lot. And I'm just imagining, you know, in their shoes, what it would be like. It's hard, but we do it every day. If you give up on them, then they're lost again. They're lost. They're lost. When you get these girls, they're not foster girls. They're your babies. They're your girls once you get them. I'm the mother. They're not foster. They're my girls when they're in my home. And if you treat them like they're yours, they will be A1. If you treat my daughter, if I'm treating her better than what I'm treating the fosters, there's not gonna be right. You have to treat them all the same. You might go buy your baby some, don't go buy the other ones. When you buy one, you buy them all. You have to treat them all the same. You come out on top. You come out on top. It was a lot of struggle doing it, but they made a change within themselves because, like I said, I have structure. The girls have to study our day. They read at night before they go to bed, and I keep my same routine going with every girl I have. Nothing changed. Nothing. It's been like that since I've been a foster parent, and they come out to be A and B students. My adopted daughter, I adopted her when she was 8. She'll be 25 in October. She was real rebellious. She was in 5 or 6 different other homes, and she act out, she did. And when I got her, she went to school, she got straight A's. She graduated out to 12th grade, but now she got her own home, own cars, you know, and she's doing pretty good. And I had quite a few that I went through school with her, but I didn't adopt, and they all turned out to be A1. When I call Children's Center, they always there for me. You know, I can call them for anything. I can say I need things, whatever it is. The Children's Center have been there through thick and thin, through the challenges, you know, through the headaches. But the Children's Center has always been there. That's why I've been here so long. I wouldn't leave them if they put me out.
We actually started at the Children's Center through the dentistry, children's dentistry for children with special needs. Typically, you know, he didn't want anybody to touch his teeth, but when he came here, they were like, Mom, we got you. We got Arrington. We know how to handle this. After the first visit, it was like, you don't need to come into the room. And at the end of his session, he walked on out, all chipper, he had this little sticker or whatever it was. My husband and I, we were both like, this is it. And then when we found out about the other services, we were like, this is it. Once he was diagnosed and we visited all these doctors, specialists, neurologists, everybody always asked, what is autism? Can you explain it? And after a while, I was like, stop asking me that. I know what it is, but when I came here, I was never asked that. They asked me what were my goals for Arrington. It was such a huge, huge relief to be somewhere and they actually understood. Imagine with me when I think about those words when it's pertaining to my son, I would go back to when he was first diagnosed at 2.5. This little kid that we sat and we looked at him and was like, you are just the cutest, the most perfect little boy ever. But you got this little... So let's imagine you 18 years from now. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna be? Imagining him not as a kid without special needs, because it's there, so you can't wish that away. But I imagine him being able to stand up for himself, which I've seen him do. Imagining him finishing obstacles that people actually told me, oh, he'll never be able to do that. And I'm like, you don't know his mama. His mama say he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it. If I see the potential in him, he's gonna do it. But I don't know, the sky's the limit, I guess. A lot of parents don't know what to ask. They know their child needs something, but they may not quite know what to ask. But I always recommend that they check out the Children's Center. Almost every type of issue your child may have, a special needs child may have, you may be able to get those services here. And if not, I'm sure that they are able to guide them in the direction that they can get those services from. Just being here with the services he received takes a village. They were part of that village that helped mold him. And to help us release the stress off, Children's Center was phenomenal with that help and that guidance.
Those videos clearly show how important the Children's Center is to families in Wayne County. Watching those stories and knowing that together we've been the agents of change means the world to me. I'm so honored to serve and grateful you're here to learn more. Now, I'd like to introduce two of my colleagues.